Number two on the list that we had as questions: how does the offensive tackle shake out? Do you think?
After you watch the footwork of DeJuan Jones, I don't know how he doesn't play. And I really like Jack Conklin too. And Jed Wills has all the talent in the world. But I think it's Jed Wills' job to lose or win, however you want to look at it. But it's going to be hard to imagine DeJuan Jones not being on the field. DeJuan Jones is a guy, when you watch him play, even when he practices. Now, you're talking about a field of just immense humans and guys who are just giants, and he makes them all look small out there. And he's a guy who uses his length and uses his athleticism. He's a former basketball player. So my question is, and I don't know, my question that I would ask other people, because this is not really where I don't know, is I like how Dickerson practicing. What's the decision? Because for me, I think Conklin is an all-pro type of guy if he's healthy. If not, then DeJuan Jones is easy there. You're counting on Jed Wills making the turn, counting on Jed Wills becoming the athlete and the left tackle that you see. Now, I will say, as a guy who is lucky enough to be down there during training camp the last 2 years at every single practice, Jed Wills has all the ability you could ever want as a left tackle. He's got all the footwork. He's just got to be more consistent in what he does, improve his body language sometimes. Sometimes he looks uninterested, and that bothers people. But I really like Jed Wills, and I know you need more than two NFL tackles. So I don't know if they're going to rotate. I don't know how it's going to work. Obviously, it's a brutal game, but it would be hard-pressed for me to see DeJuan Jones not being a starter at left or right tackle for the next 10 years for the Cleveland Browns.
So the question with DeJuan Jones was run blocking. Is that just technique with him? Because, like you said, he is a mammoth guy with really good feet. To me, that says I can just run over the defensive linemen that are in front of me.
Well, he just like Jed Wills, he's not going to be a killer. He's not going to be a guy. He's not going to be a mauler, and he that's just not who he is. Conklin's a little bit of a mauler, and then those guys inside are absolute maulers. Teller, Batoni, and Posick will knock you down every single time. But you don't need those tackles to be absolute maulers. You need them to move your feet. So I think more for him, it was learning the NFL run game and learning. The one thing I always liked about Callahan, and it's something that I cannot wait to watch about Dickerson. Callahan was a Y guy. So he would say to Teller, and I remember him saying this in practice, this is why you got to step here. You have to step here because a linebacker will be here. And sure enough, as the play goes along, the linebacker will be where Callahan said it would be. And that's part of his experience, obviously, being in the NFL for decades. But that's kind of what's happening with DeJuan Jones. He's just got to learn the NFL run game and the angles you have to take. And really, he doesn't have to be a killer. He doesn't have to be a guy who knocks everybody down. He'll do that, but he has great feet. So all he's got to do is get that big body where it needs to be. He's got to get his body between he and the running back and then work on being more and more physical. But if he's making the block, it doesn't matter if the guy gets knocked down or not. It's about being where you should be when you should be there. And that's what Callahan, that's why all those guys who played for Callahan were so good. They understood the why. We're going to run power. Here's why we block it the way we do. And that's what made Callahan special. And that's what Dickerson it does as well. And I think it'll be a pretty seamless change with Dickerson, but that's where DeJuan Jones has got to get to, and he will.